Nearly everyone who lives in Hawaii has heard legends and folklore about night marchers. But would you like to encounter them in person? Lopaka Kapanui says he has.
We're at the westernmost point of the island of Oahu, and not far from here is Kaena Point, the place where souls leap into the next world. Behind me, over the ridge, is where a night marcher trail begins somewhere in the north shore, but comes over just here, sort of takes a long meandering zigzag down the ridge, and comes out right where we're standing. If you happen to be in this place anywhere between midnight and 4 in the morning on the night there's no moon, there's a very, very good chance that you will encounter the night marchers as they come out of the high grass here, cut through a part of this parking lot, and head directly across the street to the ocean. But take precaution. If you haven't heard the warnings of the drums or the conch shells, if you haven't seen the torchlights, it's probably too late. The best you can do is strip naked and lie face down. If you're Hawaiian, you probably have an ancestor in that procession who will call out your name and protect you. But if you're not Hawaiian, good luck. One night we happened to be here a bit too late, and the people showed up late for the tour, and I had no idea that it was actually the night of the night marchers, no moon. I had them stand in a line just where you are now. I thought I'd have some fun with them, and I told them to empty their minds, take long deep breaths, and forget about the stress of the day or whatever it was that was bothering them. And I said, when they finally felt calm, I wanted them to close their eyes and just point to the area where they think the night marcher trail might come out from the tall grass. Well, several people pointed in different directions, but one 6-year-old boy pointed right here, and he went straight to it. And as he stood right in that space and turned around, his parents took a picture of him. When the picture came out, there were orbs right above his head and about a foot behind him, here in the tall grass, were the head and shoulders of Hawaiian warriors in feathered capes, feathered helmets, gourds, some of them holding a spear just like this. All 40 of us, individually, one by one, got to see this picture. And when the last person saw the picture, all of a sudden this word appears on the screen, delete. And the picture deletes itself. And I said, there goes our proof. The second I said that, this wind came out of nowhere, bent the tall grass, these trees, and it wasn't a cold wind. It was a very hot wind. It left as soon as it started, and we were left with the smell of something that had just died. And then we heard the sound of drums. When I got on the bus, I wondered what happened to the 40 people. Where did they go? Well, I was so scared I actually left them behind. And so I had to tell the bus driver to turn around and come back, and he said, oh no, we're not going back there. And so I said, wait right there at the gate. And so I got off the bus and ran back in this direction. The 40 people actually ran that way. And so there I was, late at night, chasing 40 people, heading toward Kaena Point. Their first time in Hawaii, not knowing where they were. I finally got a hold of them, walked them back to the bus, profusely apologizing. As they got back on the bus, they were flustered, calming down. And the little boy said to me, "Sir, thank you for coming back for us." Those men in those funny capes and helmets, they were looking at you. And one of them asked me, they actually asked me, "What is his name?" I told them, "I don't know." I gave that little boy a hug and I said, "Thank you very much." A month before that, we were at the Manoa Chinese Cemetery on a night when there was no moon. I had 38 architects. They were scared out of their minds. It took them 15 minutes to get them off the bus to the spot where we ended up. All of a sudden, this wind came out of nowhere and I saw it bending the tall trees in the cemetery, and I realized I could see the wind, but I couldn't hear it and I couldn't feel it. And where I was standing, it was hot and I was sweating. And then it stopped. The next day I called my cousin Keone Nunes, told him what happened. He said, "Where in the cemetery were you?" I said, "Just above the children's section." He said, "Last night was Polkane, the night of the night marchers. You were standing in the spot where the night marchers actually walked through. And I said, well, why wasn't I killed? He said, probably because you had an ancestor in the procession and they spared your life. But let me ask you something, he said. Did you give them your name? Your last name? So they knew what genealogy that you descended from? I said, no. And so a month later, a little boy tells me, the funny-looking men in the feathered capes and cloaks asked me your name. And so it could be that there's a familial connection, a DNA connection with this particular night marchers trail. Because on the night when they are here, for some reason nothing happens. And I think indeed they are family.
To hear more of Lopaka's ghost stories, visit our Career Changers TV website and click on the Trick or Treat link.